My mother-in-law put a real estate folder on my coffee table, tapped it twice with her red fingernail, and said, "A good husband signs before his wife has to beg." My wife, Melissa, sat beside her mother instead of beside me. That was the first thing that broke something inside me that afternoon. Not the folder, not the smug look on her brother Trevor's face. Not even the fact that they had already called an agent about my house before I knew selling it was being discussed. It was Melissa sitting on the other side of the room like I was the problem they had all come to solve. Trevor leaned back on my couch, the couch I bought after 3 months of overtime, and said, "It's just walls, man. You can always buy another house." I remember looking at him and feeling my hands go cold. On the table in front of them were their folders, their listing estimates, their fake concern, and a whole little script about family and sacrifice. On the chair beside me was my own folder. 10 months of bank statements. A real estate email Melissa had forgotten was still synced to our kitchen tablet, and screenshots of a group chat where Trevor had written, "If he brings up the transfers, say he's financially abusive and made you hide helping us." I knew exactly what they had done. What I did not know yet was whether my wife was going to tell the truth before I had to destroy the lie in front of both families. I gave her one last chance. I looked directly at Melissa and asked, "Before anyone says another word about my house, is there anything you want to tell me?" Her eyes flicked to her mother. Only for a second. But I saw it. Linda, my mother-in-law, answered for her. "That tone right there," she said. "That is what my daughter has been living with." And that was the moment I stopped hoping this could be fixed quietly. "My name is Daniel. I'm 35. Melissa is 33. We had been married 6 years. We had no kids yet, but we talked about them constantly, and the house was supposed to be our first real step toward that life. It was not fancy. Old cabinets, a leaning fence, one loose bathroom tile. But I bought it with money my dad left me when he died, plus years of savings and overtime. The mortgage was in my name because Melissa's credit was rough back then. She told me she did not care. "I don't need my name on paper," she said when we moved in. "I just want a home with you." I believed her so completely that it still embarrasses me. The first time my card declined, I was at a gas station holding a coffee and a granola bar while a line formed behind me. It was February. I had just finished a 12-hour shift. My boots were wet from the plant floor, my back hurt, and all I wanted was gas and 10 minutes of quiet before driving home. The cashier ran the card twice. Both times. Declined. My face got hot. I stepped aside, opened the bank app, and stared at the joint account. Less than $80. 3 days earlier, my paycheck deposit had hit that account. I called Melissa from the truck. "Did something come out of checking?" I asked. She sighed before I finished the question. "Daniel, I told you the electric bill hit, and the insurance came out. That wouldn't empty the account." The line went quiet. Then she said very softly, "So, now I'm lying?" I hated how quickly that sentence worked on me. I hated how fast I backed down. I said I was not accusing her. I said I was just confused. I said I was sorry. I paid for gas with a credit card and sat in the truck afterward, feeling like I had done something wrong by noticing my own money missing. That night, she barely looked at me. She ate dinner on the sofa, silent and stiff, while I tried to explain that I only wanted to understand the bills. "I am doing my best to keep this house running," she said. "And you come home acting like I'm stealing from you." I apologized again. That became our marriage for the next few months. I noticed a problem. I asked a question. Melissa turned hurt, then cold, then tearful. By the end of every conversation, I was apologizing for the way I had asked instead of getting an answer. The second confrontation happened at Easter, and I should have seen the whole pattern then. We hosted Melissa's family because Linda said her apartment was too cramped. I cooked half the food. Trevor showed up in new sneakers, bragging about a mobile detailing business he would start as soon as people stopped doubting him. He had no job. After dinner, while Melissa and Linda packed leftovers, Trevor followed me into the garage. He ran his hand along my truck like he was pricing it. "You ever think about upgrading?" he asked. "Not unless the old one dies." He laughed. Man, you live like you're broke. Most adults do. His smile thinned. Then he glanced toward the house and said, You probably have crazy equity in this place. Homes around here are still selling high. I looked at him. Why are you asking about my equity? Relax, he said. Just conversation. It did not feel like conversation. It felt like someone tapping on the wall to see whether there was money inside. That night, while we folded laundry, Melissa brought up selling the house for the first time. Not directly. She did it in that careful way people use when they already know what they want but need you to think it was your idea. Do you ever feel like this place is too much pressure? She asked. I looked up from a towel. The house? The mortgage. Repairs. Bills. You working all those hours. It's pressure, I said. But it's worth it. She stared at the towel in her hands. Worth it for who? That question landed wrong. For us, I said. For our future. Sometimes I feel like your future is a house, not a family. I stood there with a towel half folded, suddenly feeling like I had missed half of a conversation. Where is this coming from? She shook her head. Never mind. You always make it sound like I'm trying to take something from you. I said the sentence I had been afraid to say. Are you? Her face hardened. That is a disgusting thing to ask your wife. And once again, I was the one who apologized. Linda started working on me in public after that. At Sunday dinner, she said, some men love property because property can't ask them for compassion. Another time, Trevor joked that my house was a cage. When I asked what he meant, Melissa snapped. Daniel, don't start. Don't start meant don't defend yourself. Don't start meant let them chip away at your character while you smiled like a good son-in-law. By May, relatives were repeating the same little hints online. I was selfish, cold, too attached to the house. Melissa told me, it's not always about you. It was always about me. The first real proof came on a Tuesday afternoon. I was eating lunch in my truck when my phone buzzed with a bank notification. Transfer posted. $3,200. Recipient Linda Flores. I stared at the screen so long my sandwich slid out of the wrapper and onto my work pants. For once, I did not call Melissa right away. I sat there and felt something inside me go still. Not calm. Not numb. Still. Like my mind finally understood, my heart had been trying to warn me for months. When I got home, Melissa was in the kitchen, cheerful in a way that made my skin crawl. Hey, she said. Chicken's almost done. I put my keys down. Why did $3,200 go to your mother today? The spoon stopped in her hand, only for half a second. Then she said, her rent was past due. You sent your mother $3,200 from our joint account without telling me? She was about to lose her apartment. Then why didn't you tell me before? She put the spoon down slowly. Because I knew you would react like this. Like what? Asking why $3,000 disappeared? Her eyes filled with tears so fast it almost looked rehearsed. You have no idea what it feels like to choose between your husband being angry and your mother being homeless. I remember gripping the back of a chair because I wanted to shout. I wanted to say, I am working 58 hours a week. I am the one skipping lunches. I am the one driving on bald tires because you keep saying we're tight. But the tears made me hesitate. That hesitation saved her from the truth for one more day. Has there been more? I asked. She looked away. Not like that. Not like that was not no. The next morning, I got up before dawn, sat at the kitchen table, and downloaded 10 months of bank statements. I wish I could describe that moment as clean anger. It was not. It was nausea. It was shame. It was my hands shaking so badly I clicked the wrong month 3 times. Transfers to Linda. Transfers to Trevor. Zelle payments. Cash app payments. Checks made out to cash. $150. $600. $1,800. $2,000. $3,200. One labeled T deposit. One labeled mom car. One labeled Trevor fix. One labeled only help. In 10 months. $45,000. $870 had left our joint account and gone to Melissa's mother or brother. Nearly $46,000. I did not feel like a husband. I felt like a bank account with a wedding ring. I printed the statements at work, highlighted every transfer, and hid the folder in my truck. That night I confronted Melissa again. I did not yell. I almost wish I had, because maybe yelling would have felt better than the way my voice came out flat and broken. I know it wasn't only rent, I said. She was standing by the sink. She did not ask what I meant. How much did... That question told me everything. I said, "You know the number." She covered her mouth. For 1 second, I thought I was finally going to get honesty. Then she lowered her hand and said, "I did what I had to do." My chest actually hurt when she said that. "You took almost $46,000 from our account. I helped my family survive. You lied to me while I worked overtime to replace money you were sending out the door. Because every time money comes up, you make me feel small." Melissa, I was asking why my card declined at a gas station, and I was terrified my mother would have nowhere to go. Then why was Trevor getting money? Her face tightened. He was trying to start over. With my paycheck? Our money, she snapped. I looked at her then. Really looked. My wife was not crying now. She was angry that I had named it. Our money, I said, was supposed to keep our home running. It was not supposed to bankroll your brother's business idea. She threw the dish towel onto the counter. This is exactly why I didn't tell you. You hear the word family and immediately start counting. I said no. I started counting after you emptied the account and called me cruel for noticing. She slept in the guest room that night. I slept maybe 2 hours. The next morning, Linda left a voicemail saying I would end up alone with my precious house if I kept making money the center of my marriage. I played it 3 times in the parking lot at work. Each time, I felt less sad and more awake. Then came the email that changed everything from betrayal to a plan. We had an old tablet in the kitchen we used for recipes, music, and warranty searches. Melissa's email was still connected to it. I was looking for a water heater receipt when a notification popped up. Subject: CMA and draft listing timeline. The preview showed our address. My stomach dropped before I even opened it. The email was from a real estate agent. Melissa, it was great speaking with you and your mom. Attached is the market analysis for Daniel's property and a suggested listing timeline if he decides to move forward after Sunday's family discussion. Since Daniel is the owner on record, he would need to sign all listing documents. I am happy to answer questions if he wants to join the next call. Daniel's property. Sunday's family discussion. The next call. I sat at the kitchen table staring at that screen while the house hummed around me. The refrigerator clicked. A car passed outside. Somewhere upstairs, the loose bathroom tile made a tiny sound as the pipes settled. My wife and her mother had already spoken to an agent about selling my home. Not our home in their minds. My property when paperwork mattered. Our responsibility when they needed money. I forwarded the email to myself. I took screenshots. Then I searched the tablet for the word house. By then, privacy had already been used as a curtain for theft, and I needed to know how deep the lie went. The group chat came up. Melissa. Linda. Trevor. Linda. Do not ask. Tell him this is what family needs. Trevor. He has no kids. He doesn't need that much house. Melissa. He'll say the mortgage is in his name. Linda. Then say that proves he never saw you as equal. Trevor. If he brings up the transfers, say he's financially abusive and made you hide helping us. I stopped there. I put the tablet down, pressed both palms flat on the table, and breathed like someone had knocked the air out of me. The worst part was not even the message. The worst part was the tiny voice inside me that still wanted to ask Melissa if I was misunderstanding it. That is what months of gaslighting does. You can hold the script in your hands and still wonder if maybe you are being unfair. Sunday's meeting had already been scheduled by then. Melissa called it a family conversation. Linda called it a reset. Trevor texted me, "Be a man and don't make women beg." I invited my mom and my sister Anna. Melissa exploded when she found out. "Why would you invite them?" she asked in the hallway before everyone arrived. Because if your family gets to discuss my house, my family gets to hear it. You're making this aggressive. No, Melissa. You made it aggressive when you called an agent without me. Her face went pale. For the first time, she knew I knew more than she thought. She whispered, "Please don't embarrass me today." That almost made me laugh. Not because it was funny, because I was so close to breaking that laughter felt safer than rage. "Is there something embarrassing?" I asked. She walked away. Linda arrived with Trevor and 2 folders. She kissed Melissa on the cheek, ignored my outstretched hand, and started inspecting the living room like she already owned half of it. Trevor opened my fridge without asking and took a soda. My mom came in quietly. Anna came with a notebook, because Anna never enters chaos without paper. Melissa sat beside Linda. That hurt so much I had to look away. For 10 minutes, everyone performed politeness. Then Linda tapped the real estate folder. A good husband signs before his wife has to beg. That is where I started this story. Because that is where the lie finally ran out of room. Anna asked, "Signs what?" Linda smiled like she had been waiting. "No one is forcing anything. But Daniel and Melissa's house has become a burden. Selling could pay off debts, help the whole family reset, and give these two a fresh start." "Whose debts?" Anna asked. Linda's smile twitched. "Family debts." I said, "Say whose debts." Melissa turned sharply. "Daniel, don't start." There it was again. Don't start. This time I did. "No," I said. "I think if everyone came here to discuss selling my house, everyone should know what the money would actually pay for." Trevor leaned forward. "You hear yourself? My house, my money, my rules." Linda placed a hand on Melissa's knee. "This is what we mean. Melissa has been carrying the emotional weight of a marriage where compassion is treated like a bill." Melissa looked down, tears already gathering. My mother spoke for the first time. "Melissa, what exactly has my son refused to do?" Melissa seemed startled by the direct question. "He makes me feel like helping my family is wrong," she said. "Did he know how much help?" Anna asked. Silence. That silence was the first crack. I reached for my folder. Melissa saw it and whispered, "Daniel." I looked at her. I asked if there was anything you wanted to tell me. She said nothing. So I opened the folder. I placed the bank statements on the coffee table, 1 page at a time. Yellow highlights, month after month. In 10 months, I said, $45,870 went from our joint account to Linda or Trevor. That account was funded almost entirely by my paycheck. While this was happening, Melissa told me we were barely surviving. She told me we couldn't replace the dishwasher. She told me visiting my mother for a weekend was too expensive. She let my card decline at a gas station and then made me apologize for asking why. My voice cracked on that last sentence. I hated that it did. I wanted to sound controlled. Instead, I sounded like exactly what I was. A man who had been humiliated in small doses for so long that the full amount finally hurt. Linda recovered first. "It was a joint account," she said. "My daughter had every right to help her mother. She had the right to talk to her husband before sending nearly $46,000, my mom said. Trevor scoffed. "So we're poor criminals now?" Anna looked at him. "Did you receive money from the account?" "That's not the point." "It is literally the point." Melissa started crying harder. "I hid it because he makes money terrifying," she said. A year earlier, those tears would have ended the conversation. That day, they opened the next folder. "Did I make money terrifying?" I asked. "Or did Trevor tell you to say that if I found the transfers?" Trevor's face changed. "Linda Frazi." I took out the screenshot. I read only one line. "If he brings up the transfers, say he's financially abusive and made you hide helping us." My sister made a small sound, like she had been slapped. Melissa whispered, "You went through my messages." I said, "After I found out you and your mother spoke with a real estate agent about selling my house, yes." Linda stood so fast her folder slid off her lap. "That is a violation," she said. "So is planning to sell a man's house before telling him," Anna said. I placed the agent's email on top of the statements. "Melissa, it was great speaking with you and your mom," I read. Attached is the market analysis for Daniel's property and a suggested listing timeline if he decides to move forward after Sunday's family discussion. My mother's eyes filled with tears. Not dramatic tears. Quiet ones. That almost broke me more than Melissa's crying. Because my mother was not trying to win anything. She was watching her son realize his marriage had been used as leverage. Trevor tried to laugh. So what? Looking at options isn't a crime. Then why wasn't I on the call? I asked. He had no answer. Linda bent to pick up her folder. A paper slipped out and landed face up near Anna's foot. Anna looked down. Then she picked it up. Linda said, "Give that back." Anna read it before Linda could snatch it away. It was a handwritten breakdown of sale proceeds. Trevor truck payoff. Mum balance. Linda emergency fund. Daniel. Melissa rent. My house had already been divided on paper. The room went completely silent. I looked at Melissa. You let them plan where the money would go? She shook her head quickly. That wasn't final. Not final. Not wrong. Not insane. Not a betrayal. Just not final. Something in me snapped then, but it did not come out as shouting. It came out quiet. Get out of my house. Linda's mouth fell open. Excuse me? You heard me. You came into my home, called me selfish, tried to pressure me into selling it, and already divided the money. Get out. Trevor stood. You're pathetic. I looked at him and said, you're unemployed and planning a truck payoff with another man's home equity. Be careful what you call pathetic. His face went red. Linda pointed at Melissa. Come on. He has shown you who he is. For one horrible second, I thought Melissa might stand with them. She stayed seated, crying into her hands as Linda and Trevor left. The front door slammed hard enough to rattle the hallway frame. My mom and Anna went into the kitchen to give us space. Melissa looked up at me. You humiliated me. I almost could not believe those were the first words. You stole from our life, I said. You let them call me abusive. You brought them into my living room to pressure me. You helped them prepare a script. And you think the humiliation is that I proved it? She cried harder. I didn't know how to tell you. You knew how to tell an agent. That landed. She flinched like I had raised my hand. I never touched her. I never would. But I will admit this. Part of me wanted that sentence to hurt. I told her what had already changed. My paycheck would no longer go into the joint account. The mortgage was moving to a new account in my name only. I had removed overdraft protection. I had lowered the joint account to cover only that month's shared bills. I would not stop her from using her own paycheck to help her mother, but Linda and Trevor were done reaching my money through her. Melissa wiped her face. So you're cutting me off? No, I said. I'm cutting them off from me. She looked at me with wet, furious eyes. That's the same thing. And there it was. The cleanest truth she had told me all year. She slept in the guest room that night. I lay awake in our bedroom, staring at the ceiling, remembering the first night we moved in. We had eaten pizza on the floor because the table had not arrived. Melissa had danced barefoot while I opened cheap champagne. She had kissed me and said, "This is ours." I cried that night. Not loud. Not heroic. Just silent tears into a pillow, because I missed a woman who had either changed or never existed the way I thought she did. The next morning, she packed a bag. At the door, she turned and said, I hope this house keeps you warm. I wanted to say it had kept her family warm for 10 months. Instead, I said nothing. After she left, I sat on the stairs until the group chat exploded. Linda wrote that I had ambushed Melissa and weaponized money. Trevor called me obsessed with ownership. One cousin said, "This is why women hide things from controlling men." My hands shook reading that. Even with the proof, the old story still had legs. Then Anna, who had been accidentally added to the chat years ago and never removed, posted one screenshot. Trevor. If he brings up the transfers, say he's financially abusive and made you hide helping us. No caption. No speech. Just the screenshot. The chat died for 11 minutes. Then Melissa's aunt wrote, "Is this real?" Anna posted the real estate email. Another cousin asked, "Did Daniel know about the agent?" No one answered. Then Anna posted a photo of the sale proceeds note, including Trevor truck payoff. That was the public collapse. Not screaming, not applause. Just one family group chat watching the villain costume fall off the wrong man. Linda tried to recover by writing, "This is private family business." I laughed when I read that. Actually laughed out loud in my empty living room. When I was the villain, it was family concern. When the proof arrived, it became private. Over the next week, consequences came in waves. First, Melissa's aunt called me. She did not fully apologize. She said, "I think I may have been given an incomplete picture." That is a family-safe way of saying, "I judged you and now I feel embarrassed." I told her I appreciated the call. Then a cousin messaged, "I'm sorry. Linda told everyone you refused to help when she was about to be homeless. She never said you already paid that much." Another relative sent me a screenshot of Linda asking people not to spread Daniel's edited documents. Under it, Trevor had commented, "He's trying to ruin Mom." Then someone replied, "Did you take the money or not?" Trevor did not answer. That silence meant more than any apology. Second, the real estate agent emailed me directly after I called her office. She apologized for the confusion and confirmed the house had not been listed. No paperwork had been started, and she had been told the family was in agreement but moving slowly. She also confirmed in writing that I was the sole owner on record and no listing could happen without my signature. I printed that email too. After months of being told I was imagining things, every piece of paper felt like a handrail. Third, the money stopped. That was when the real panic began. Melissa texted me 3 days after she left. "Mom's rent is due. Can we please not punish her while we figure us out?" I stared at that message for a long time. My first instinct was guilt. Even then, even after everything, some part of me still heard the word rent and thought, what if someone suffers because I say no? Then I remembered the sale proceeds note. Trevor truck payoff. I wrote back, "Your paycheck is yours. You can help her with your money. Mine is not available." She replied, "You are proving everything they said." I answered, "No, I am proving the transfer is over." She did not respond. A week later, Trevor lost the truck deposit. I found out because he posted a long rant about haters blocking blessings and then deleted it. Linda took down her Facebook post about men who hide behind paperwork. People had started asking too many specific questions under it. That was the part that felt like payoff, but not in a joyful way. It did not feel like fireworks. It felt like a storm finally moving off after flooding your house. Relief mixed with damage. Melissa came by that Saturday to get more clothes. Anna was there because I refused private confrontations for a while. Melissa hated that. "This is unnecessary," she said, standing in the doorway with 2 empty bags. "So was bringing your mother and brother to pressure me." She looked down and went upstairs. While she packed, I stayed in the living room. I heard drawers open, hangers slide. Once, I heard her crying softly, and I had to close my eyes because I still loved her enough for that sound to hurt. Before she left, she stood by the door. "My mom says you made us look like criminals." I said, "Your mom made herself look dishonest. She was desperate. Then she could have asked me honestly." Melissa looked at me with an expression I will never forget. Sad, angry, and somehow still offended. "You would have said no to selling my house for Trevor's truck?" "Yes." She flinched again. "That wasn't final," she whispered. "You keep saying that like it makes it better." She did not answer. We had one calm conversation after that at a coffee shop. I chose a public place because I no longer trusted private rooms to stay honest. Melissa looked exhausted. No makeup. Hair pulled back. Hands wrapped around a paper cup she barely drank from. She admitted she sent the money. She admitted Linda knew I did not know the full amount. She admitted Trevor was pushing hard for the house sale because he had already put money down on a truck he could not afford. She admitted the agent call happened before she ever said the word selling to me clearly. But every apology had a door out of it. "I'm sorry, but Mom was scared. I'm sorry, but you made it hard to talk about money. I'm sorry, but Trevor really was trying to start over. I'm sorry." but you made me feel like your house mattered more than my family. Finally, I asked her, do you understand that I was your family too? She started crying. This time I did not reach across the table. She said, of course I do. Then why was I the only family member who had to be lied to? She had no answer. That was the moment I knew separation was not a punishment. It was oxygen. I am not going to pretend I became instantly strong. I missed her. Some mornings I woke up, saw the empty pillow, and felt grief punch through the anger. I missed the woman who danced in the kitchen and told me she was proud of me, but I did not miss checking the bank account with my stomach in knots. I did not miss being told I was cruel for asking simple questions. I did not miss working overtime to fund people who called me selfish in my own home. A month after the meeting, my mother came over with soup. Anna brought her kids. My nephew helped me repair the leaning fence and used so many wrong nails that I had to redo half of it later. My niece drew a chalk sun on the driveway and wrote, Uncle Dan's home under it. I stood there looking at that crooked little sun and almost cried again. For a while the house had felt poisoned. Every room had a memory attached to the betrayal. Linda tapping the folder. Melissa sitting beside her. Trevor saying, it's just walls. The kitchen table where I found the email. The hallway where Melissa told me not to embarrass her. But that evening, after everyone left, I walked through the house and realized it was quiet, not empty. The loose bathroom tile still clicked. The cabinet still needed replacing. The fence still leaned a little because my nephew's repair work was more enthusiastic than skilled. But nobody inside was telling me I was selfish for protecting what I had earned. That mattered. I do not know what will happen with Melissa long term. We are separated. I have spoken to an attorney. I have separated the finances. I have not agreed to sell the house, refinance it, borrow against it, or reset anyone else's life with it. Linda no longer calls me. Trevor blocked me after Anna posted the screenshots. Some relatives still avoid me because it is easier to avoid the person they wronged than admit they helped carry a lie. Others have apologized in quiet, awkward ways. I accept the awkward apologies. I do not chase the missing ones. The hardest lesson in all of this is that generosity without honesty becomes a trap. I wanted to be a good husband. I wanted to be patient, trusting, open-handed. But someone can take those good qualities and turn them into handles. They can use your fear of being selfish to make you silent while they spend your life for you. I am not saying I handled everything perfectly. I should have checked the accounts earlier. I should have stopped apologizing for reasonable questions. I should have understood sooner that love does not require you to ignore your own alarm bells. But I know this now. I was not crazy. I was not abusive for wanting to know where my paycheck went. I was not choosing a building over family. They were choosing my silence over honesty. And once I stopped being silent, the entire story they built around me finally collapsed.